from Reuters.
Nice.
Trump says he will create the External Revenue Service to collect revenue from foreign sources. Now, I'm torn on this because I like the idea of America getting paid what is due, but he's creating another IRS. I don't know if I want to be
This
in that.
seems like a troll to me.
Right?
Like, this is just like, this is funny. Like, how do you have any jurisdiction over other countries? Obviously, you have tariffs and all these things, but you're like, you're going to go after other countries and say you owe us tax money?
Well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the same as the IRS. Like, you don't dispatch guys with guns, although the U.S. does.
That's what we have.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's, if the Internal Revenue Service what it would do realistically, keep records and logs of debts and then use that as leverage in trade.
Can they make
Trudeau's buying U.S. submarines now because of the trade deficit.
Can they make sure that they pay their fair share? I mean, I hate that word fair share. Apologies. For like NATO and all these other things.
That's the plan.
Right.
Tariffs and trade deals and things like this. I like the tariffs. I do. I'm curious your thoughts, though. The whole tariff situation with Trump. And
I think tariffs are a weapon you can use to level the playing field. It's just a negotiating tactic, if you will, essentially what it comes down to. In some cases, tariffs can hurt both you and the people that you've applied tariffs to, obviously. Right. In other cases, it can be enough to go, okay, I hear you, right? So I think a lot of what he does is a little bit blowhard, like he throws things out there, talks a big game, likes to get you riled up, and he does. Like, this is something that gets people riled up. The whole Canada thing, like, do we really think he's trying to make Canada the 51st state? Or was he just mocking Trudeau, right? He's mocking Trudeau.
He's insulting the guy.
Like, Elon's tweet kills me when he says, Trudeau said that'll never happen. He goes, girl, you ain't even governor of Canada anymore. Like, I think that he says a lot of things that he knows he's a master at one thing, right? Controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed over whatever the 8-10 years is whatever he says on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that's what the narrative becomes. So if there's something bad for him, he says something crazy. And they'll just talk about that for 3-4 days. And then you have all these things. So when you ask somebody, why do you hate Trump? They get to the point where like they don't know where to start because they forgot the 17 other things that were in the news the other day.
It's a really good point because Trump creates stories that are flashes in the pan.
Yes.
So someone might say to themselves, Trump wants to create another tax revenue generation department. The IRS was bad enough. This guy's nuts. It never happens. The story vanishes.
That's exactly right.
And then 6 months later, like, I don't like the guy. Why? I don't know. Why? Because there is no external revenue service. It never happened.
Because you sensationalize every tweet. Like CNN's entire program was like, I remember it was like Don Lemon every single night. And the whole show was Trump tweeted this. Can you believe it? I'm like, yes. He tweets this stuff all the time. Why is this news to you? This is not that big a deal, but you allow it to be. And like you said, he can just change the narrative whenever he wants because they bite and they profit from it too. Like they want him to, they make a lot of money because people tune in to hear them rag on Trump. I think less so now than ever because of, the evolution of media and legacy media sort of fading.
Yeah. So, in our first segment, we were talking about Jimmy Kimmel. I actually checked. What do you guys think Jimmy Kimmel's ratings are in the key demo?
Oh, he's got
I
to
imagine they're bad.
You give me a number.
As in thousands, I'm going to go 84,000
What do you think? Key demographic ratings for Jimmy Kimmel, this big show.
per day. 84.
Like
Yeah.
240,000?
Ooh.
I think it's probably around 200,000.
It is 221,000.
Okay.
Pretty good guess.
Close.
We get better. We get better ratings than Jimmy Kimmel does.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. But yeah, legacy media is dead. And largely why these things don't faze people anymore is because people are watching shows like this, which we understand humor. If Trump makes a joke, we don't scream Trump seriously wants to kick dogs. We're like, oh, he was making reference to SNL. We don't take it so seriously.
Or if Biden or someone on their team says something, that's supposed to be funny, we're not going to cry about it off, whine about it right off the bat.
I'd say the thing that upset me, that woke me up, if you will, and upset me the most is you have plenty of stuff that you could criticize Trump for. You got a laundry list of stuff throughout his history, in real estate and all these types of things. Why do you spend so much time twisting something that isn't true, make it look true to make him look bad? Like, for me, I was a believer that he said, Nazis are fine people. Okay. And I believed that for a very long time. I'm embarrassed to say so. Then someone says, did you watch the video? I said, yeah. No, the whole video. Oh, I never saw the whole video. It was never on my news channels. Then I watched it and he said, wait a minute. Literally after he says that, he says, I'm not talking about white supremacists or neo-Nazis. And I'm like, well, what else has he done? Then the bloodbath thing. He's talking about the auto industry, clearly a financial term, bloodbath. And they twist that into saying that, there's going to be civil unrest. So like when you do that, you lose people like me in trusting your narratives and what you say. When you say that, well, when Trump's assassination attempt, on CNN it says Trump fell at a rally. Like as though he's old age, he just fell. It's like, why? I mean, again, I get why they do it. Clickbait titles work. And this is sort of the industry.
Do you really think that well, I feel like maybe there are some people that do it for clickbait, but I really, really feel that there are people that want to do everything they can to discredit him because they just hate him with such a
there's a combination of both for sure. Twisting the narrative does like with clickbait titles works because more people see it, but you're also painting him.
Yeah,
they painted a picture that, like I said, I for many years believed that he said that about neo-Nazis.
They're with you.
Yeah, I did not know that until I actually watched the video. And there's a lot of things I think with Elon taking over X and sort of opening that up with the algorithm and community notes. Now, when somebody puts something out that's untrue, maybe not right away, you don't see it, but you see it soon enough where you're like, oh, okay, because I've seen things on X sometimes where I'm like, this can't be real, is it? And then the next day I see the same thing and it's got a community note saying it isn't.
When you finally watch that video, how soon did you find yourself an encounter with another believer that you were trying to convince?
Well, I remember showing it to my wife, right? Because she'd never seen it either. And, she's obviously, been a liberal-minded person her whole life. And when she saw it, at first, it's like you have to listen to it twice because you're like, wait a minute, no.
Did
they really did every single media outlet for all these years and continued this? I was very disappointed, frankly, when Obama on the campaign trail was repeating that same final. I was so disappointed. I thought like, man, I think at that point he's like, we've lost, we're going to lose. So I'm going to throw everything at the kitchen sink to try to win this.
That's a really common thing that I hear from people that are former progressives or whatever you want to say. There's this guy on this podcast called the All In Podcast.
I know. I know all these guys.
Chamath said the same thing, and he was like, he's like, I couldn't believe that Barack Obama was repeating this absolute bald-faced lie, and it's true. It is rather shocking to that something that is such a blatant, just above the board lie, was repeated and repeated as if it was true. Even the current, even the old man, Joe Biden, said, well, the reason that I ran was because Donald Trump said this. It's like he didn't even say that.
Well, for so many years, the credibility went unchecked, right? If the news said this is what it is. There was no way to find out whether or not that was true or not. You just got what you were told. But now, obviously, with the resources we have and platforms like yours and others who can dissect and question everything, in an authentic way. And again, sometimes you're going to get stuff wrong, right? But at least you're having the conversation. You're not just assuming that, well, they can't twist the way that they did before. And I think there's sort of an anger from legacy media about the idea that their grasp and their hold on the narrative has slipped away.
I mean, that goes back to the Jimmy Kimmel thing in the beginning where the criticism of California's largely failed policy and policy that contributed to an understaffing of which diversity, equity, inclusion things played a role. And then Jimmy Kimmel plays the game of the firefighters aren't white enough. That's always been you're racist and you're far right instead of actually addressing the concerns, which is a weird position for so many people like you saying you're a liberal-minded guy, but they're going to call you far right.
Oh, I get both. I finally realized I was in the right place when I start getting called both a libtard and a far right wing extremist. How can I be both? But I'm like, you know what? If I'm both, then I'm exactly where I want to be because I don't believe it's as simple as left and right. I kind of hate the terms. I think it's stupid because how many people actually agree if you agree wholeheartedly with everything on the left or everything on the right, you're not doing any critical thinking of your own. It's impossible. It is not possible to think that. Well, whatever you're spoon fed. Oh, where did it come from? A lab or did it come from whatever?
A bat.
Yeah, a bat. So whatever, if you believe 100% of each side, then you're not really doing any critical thinking. So there are some things on both sides that I agree with or disagree with.
But I do think there's tendencies. So, I'm a probably liberal-minded guy. We probably agree on a lot of things, and I find myself in the conservative camp. Not because of my political positions, but because of what I think is true. So, for instance, Matt Taibbi does this great report on the Burisma scandal in Ukraine and Joe Biden. And I go, well, I trust Matt Taibbi. He's a great reporter. just by agreeing with that story, you're conservative. I'm like, what?
This is what I've noticed. It's like I might share something, right, on X or whatever. I share something that is true. There's a video. You can watch the video. And the responses I get are, oh, my God, you're sharing something from that guy? I'm like, what's relevant about who? Okay? That's not what I do. I don't judge facts and truth based on who said them. Some people I might really despise would say something that is just true. So you just have to acknowledge that. But we live in a world now where that's how people dismiss you.
Yeah.
Right? They dismiss you. Oh, anything. You could say something like the sky is blue.
You're a Trumper now.
But like, oh yeah, you said it. So well, we have to just discredit it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.